Good Monday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV. Wow, when it rains, it rains. It's incredible, everybody. I would honestly think I lived back in New Jersey from the 80s, where all it did was rain all the damn time. This is insane. We are just getting tons and tons of rain. And it's not letting up until end of the week. I mean, today, tomorrow, the next day. I think it finally clears out this weekend, but good Lord, man. Yeah, I can't find my rain jacket, so I'm just wearing a jacket to stay wet. Had to put a solid cap on, but good Monday morning. We are back to routine, but look at this here, man. Green as can be up here. I mean, in all reality, this area definitely just needs lots and lots of rain, but who the hell wants to deal with that? You know what I mean? So, over to the house, get the dogs out. Wife is gone. And it's the Monday to start the week. If you work, you know what that means. It's back to the grind. So let me get in here, and there's a deer way over there, just sitting on our property, hanging out, which will be, that'll be a problem when I walk back out here. So into the house we go. And this room is trashed. The wife rearranged the cages so it could I think be a little bit easier for her to navigate around here. All right, we're back. Yeah, we're back in borderline just downpouring rain. Wow. Wow and wow and wow. And who the hell wants to get out? The deer over there looks like it's borderline dead. So I don't need that on my property. Oh, that would be a fiasco. That would be a total fiasco if that deer. I'd have to get my bucket. I'll just tell you what I'd do. I've learned this years ago. I'll get my bucket and I'll take that deer down the road to an open field and dump it in that field. Otherwise, these dogs will be trying to eat that deer with the vultures for the next month. So here we go. Oh boy, what an exciting day to go to work today, being we work out in the field in the real deal world. So this is just rain, rain, rain. I was saying here a while back that this area just doesn't seem to get the rains like it used to. Am I eating my words now? Yeah, majorly eating my words. As I get over to the shop, which I spent the day in yesterday, in the shop on Father's Day, cleaning it all up and trying to set my life back in order, which that's not easy. Yeah, what a nice difference, huh? Huge difference on how the shop looks. Feel better about things. I think it was Bug Man, Bike Man, whatever. They're saying you just took everything and stuffed everything in the drawers. Well, sadly, the drawers are full to the brim with crap as well. I mean, there's no room. Only option I really have, believe it or not, is just throwing stuff away. I mean, that's the real fact. Is I am just now throwing crap away. I mean, I have so many front license plate tags and this and that. I mean, shampoos for the dogs are probably 3, 4, 5 years old. Little fittings, miscellaneous parts from the you stay here. From the business, blah 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 blah. So it's just more or less like, I mean, like so much of that stuff in those shelves over there, it'll never ever get used. So it just needs to be thrown away. You know, people are like, yeah, but okay, good luck going to the store. Good luck, bringing everybody in your shop to sell 50-cent, 10-cent items. I ain't doing that. Then people start scoping everything out, wow, this guy's got a lot of cars and motorcycles, and hey, this is a pretty cool place, and, sit there, get the hell out of my property. Just take it to the dump and throw it away like everybody else does. Nope, okay, good. All right, you guys are up there. Now it's time to feed you guys. Yeah, so the real story is it's just throw stuff away. Well, nuts, bolts, screws, this, that, this. Here's my Merrill shoes. That was an argument with the Merrill guy. And that was classic. That kid that worked at that store, he was just adamant about not really wanting to give my money back. So here's a big bowl of food. So you can see, I fill these bowls to the brim. And then throughout the day, they just eat. They eat it. And good news is, they're not starving. Good news is they're not crapping in their cages. So we'll have 4. Dermot was in the morning and only put 3 bowls down, but you don't realize there are other food bowls in the house. You don't know that, do you? So that's a whole other area for them to eat. But yeah, with me doing this, moving everything back out here again, I'm back on the job of just filling this thing up to the brim on all of them. And the good news is all dogs are really hungry. Bad news is, well, you know what? When I take them upstairs to my office, they seem to hold it. Now, if I just leave them down here, so when I'm done making video, I'll take them to my office and lock them down upstairs. Because otherwise, if I just let them run around, run amok down here, yeah, they're going to piss and crap. They're going to say, oh, that's right, the good old days. Not the good old days. Here's the race truck. Here's what I got to thinking. I tell you, man, I have so much crap. I can't keep track of this stuff. As you get older in life, it becomes very challenging to remember what you have. You hear the stories of the rich people that have the maids and the helpers, even the family, that just steals everything from them because they can't remember anything. So when I did the Ford Mustang Whipple horse install last year, they took out the original manifold in dual intake, and I had a big box. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I can't remember where I put that box. I think that box with the manifold and everything else is up there. I don't think I would have thrown it away. I don't know why I would have thrown it away. But I don't know. I have no idea. But this is what I was thinking. And I don't know if it's worth the time and money. But if I put that air intake, if I put the intake manifold on top of this motor, if I change out the intake manifold, then I get the dual air intake assembly set up in this truck, would it put an extra 50 horsepower, 100 horsepower in this truck? I have no idea. I don't know. But if it did, wow. I'd have to talk to my friend David over there at Coons Silver Spring Ford that did the Whipple on the Dark Horse and ask him, what would come from me doing that. Here's the birds. So the birds are back. So the little crappers have shown up again for their second round, which is incredible. I truly thought these dumbass birds, these birds are driving nuts. We're now in the middle of June. I sincerely thought they were done nesting and they had moved on, but obviously I'm wrong. So here they are now crapping on my Camaro, crap on the truck. Oh, yeah. I kept moving yesterday, being on the Father's Day. It's interesting to hear other people on my channel, and it's the truth. It's the empty nesters. As you get older in life, if you didn't have a lot of kids, and that's the thing, I would have preferred to have had 2 or 3 kids, but my wife couldn't handle it. I mean, that's the bottom line. My wife just doesn't have that type of personality. She just doesn't have that, and I can't control that. That's my wife. If my wife could ever control the car situation, you wouldn't even know me. You would not even know me because there's no way my wife ever. If my wife was the person to make all the money, there's no way you would not know me for anything in the world. And that's like having kids. I can't force my wife to have a kid. So in that scenario, she controlled that all day long. So we didn't have any kids besides one. I mean, right after we got married. After about the 2nd year in, I was wanting kids. She's like, nope. Wouldn't do it. She waited till her mother came. Her mother retired. Now I get somebody looking for me. And with these devices, what happens is, so I'm talking to you on my phone right now. My watch is dinging me for notifications. And that's all it is. Yeah. So... Brian's funny. Hey, it's raining out. Am I working today? Yeah. Yeah, you're coming in. Jesus, I gave you Friday off. So get your ass in here. So for my wife, I give her credit on one aspect because until you have a kid, you don't get it. You just don't get the responsibility. You don't get it to have them. So my wife, she intentionally waited till her mother retired so that once her mother retired, her mother would take care of Julia throughout the day as we both worked, which that was a great plan. Only downside is I was 41 years old by the time that happened. And for me, I'm such a guy, I grew up in the family of having fun and playing, and I'm such a play guy that I enjoy playing with young people. I coached youth girls basketball for 8 years. And so for my wife, but she just, once again, my wife is a total career woman, and that's who she is. I mean, she is, the career is everything. That is her. My wife's true happiness is going to work. And as we know, there's other women in the world, their true happiness is being at home taking care of the children. So, and that's the difference of my wife versus other people's wives. We all have different, personalities. We all have different callings. And so in some ways, I was more the stay-at-home dad in some ways. So if I ever met a woman that wanted to be very successful and have a bunch of kids and looked at me and said, would you? I'd be like, okay, that's fine. A lot of work, man, a lot of work. But the whole point of this conversation is, on my Father's Day, this was my first Father's Day for me, where I didn't have my daughter at home. So it was the first time, as people claimed on my YouTube channel, the empty nester. So I'm sure other people like that. But now if we had 2, 3 kids, then the odds are I still wouldn't be an empty nester probably for a good another 5 years or more, because we would have had a child probably, most people wait like a few years between having children, kind of, if you're really planning to have children, you can have one every other year or whatever. But then they all have different personalities, and one may have not even gotten married, one may want to stay around longer, kind of like in my family. I was more the person my sister was more the person, very independent, gone from the house, very young. Eventually when I had my chance to get out, I was on my own. My brother did as well, but the difference between my brother and I was more about, he always stayed close to my dad and mom. So my brother always tried to kind of move wherever my parents moved to be with the family still. Just like when my parents went to Florida, he intentionally moved to Atlanta, Georgia to be close to my parents. And then eventually he was able to get a position in Tampa, Florida, and even be closer to my parents and live right there next to my parents. So that was always his, that was always something my father that always, jeez, I tell you, man, phone's freaking, just the Monday morning stuff going on as usual. So the others can relate with what I'm talking about. Is you're back, I'm back to where I was in our marriage, where we were married for 8 years with no child. So you think that through. I was from 19, but that was a whole different era for me because I was just getting going and working and building my business. That was a whole different time era. And on top of that, my parents moved next to me in 2000. So I had the interaction still with my father and mother, and then my sister and my brother. They would come up. Brother not so much, but my sister would come up and family come up. So I still had a very close relationship with my father to interact and have my interaction. But now you fast forward, and here I am now. And now that since I committed so much of my time being a parent and revolving my life around my child, the relationship with my wife, that all changed because my daughter and I did so much more together with each other than my wife and I. So you guys here, I know what you're doing now. Hey, what are you doing? You guys are sly. Get out of there. Did you already crap? God damn it. I tell you, man, these dogs. I tell you, I have my get the hell upstairs. So as I'm talking, they're already shitting places. It just drives me nuts. Get upstairs. Get upstairs. I mean, that's how fast they eat. Get out. No, get over here. Get over. I swear, they've already crapped in my shop. I swear there's a crap right here. Yep, there's one. There's one. Probably another one. You see that? Just that fast, everybody. The dogs between running away. Yeah, I know. I mean, you guys hear my tone. And, it's a day by day thing with these dogs. One day it's great. The next day It's, shit city. And it's the piss, and the piss is the piss is even, the piss. But so anyway, so for me, I dedicated my life, and that's the challenge. And I know many people know these stories. You hear these stories all the time of people like me that revolve their whole life around their kid, and then the kid goes away, and then what do you do? Because you don't have your friends. You don't have that infrastructure. You don't have that infrastructure of your friends, because how did you have time for friends? I mean, one of my good friends, Ivan, that I used to be really close with in high school and out of high school, years and years ago, I used to go by his house every now and then trying to kind of get the relationship back with him. And he's a motorcycle rider, but he has like 4 kids, and he's just too busy. He's always with the kids, always taking care of kids. And he had teenagers and a daughter, my Julia's age, but it was just the same old thing. He had too much going on in a family for him to break away and say, hey, let's just go hang out together and have a beer together, or let's go ride motorcycles together. It never would. I tried that and never worked. It never happened. And so I'm sure other people would write on my channel, same thing. You had very close friends growing up, but then they went to the marriage and life and everything. And then you fast forward 30, 40 years later, and you're standing there, you're saying, okay, so what do I do now? And so that's where people resort to getting back to church. They resort to getting involved. And for me, my community right now is my social media. I mean, right now, but for my social media, it'd be like, who the hell am I even really talking to? Who am I interacting with? And that's a challenge. And then for me, I still have a lot going on in my life of challenges that take away just the freedom of doing anything I want, because I have a ton of dogs. And I have a business. And I have other commitments still. And then I still have a spouse that has a whole different perspective on what is going out and having fun versus what I think is having fun. So is it challenges? It's always challenges. And so that's the Father's Day thing, just kind of wrapping up for me. And I'm sure the others that I heard from Jeff McCollum, Randy Huff, I mean, their story is they don't have their child anymore. So how do you handle that? Yeah, I mean, that's radical. I mean, I reached out yesterday, and I mean, I was teary-eyed. I was very teary-eyed, because just to think of losing your child, that's radical. And that goes on a lot more than we realize. So anyways, just kind of wrapping up the Father's Day experience to me. But in the end, I had a good day because I stayed busy. That's how I get through the days where if you're by yourself, what do? Some people probably curl up in a ball. Others probably read a book. Others maybe go to the park. Others jump on their motorcycle. Others start drinking. Others, I don't know. Everybody has their own way of getting through your the moments when you're kind of just isolated and all by yourself. For me, as you can see, I took the time to clean my shop up. Then I took the time to clean up my truck and evaluate where this is all going. Man, I tell you, man, this is where it's very challenging for me. This frickin' device drives you nuts. Yeah, this texting, phone calls. But, when you own your own company, and people aren't happy, or people want you to do something, the phone starts ringing. Downpouring rain, man. It's just incredible. These heavy rains. And, but, it's life. It'll go from rain all the time for it all dries up. And so now, it's interesting is I'm not watching news. I'm sure most people here are on the same page I am. Who the hell wants to watch news? It's a waste of time. It's the world powers doing whatever the hell they're going to do. They're going to do whatever they want to do, whether you're happy or not. I mean, so even with that, from what I'm seeing is Israel's bombing Iran, but Iran was bombing Israel. So that's look at this upstairs. This is Rebel upstairs trying to lick Scout's mouth, and he starts crying like a little crybaby. So here's the so Iran and Israel now are at full war because Israel wants to take out Iran's capability to blow them up with a nuclear bomb. But the running joke is that China has a nuclear bomb for Iran standing by. So I mean, So there's that whole thing, right? Then they had I didn't even know I didn't even know what the King's parades were about. Just to show you how out of touch I am with the meter. And I asked my wife. He said, "Is this something about Martin Luther King? What was the King's parades about?" So I'm not following the media. I'm just telling you, I quit watching the media. So what was it about? My guess is, from what my wife kind of said, is that people think that Donald Trump's the king now. Okay. Well, I'm glad they think that. Great. And then what? I mean, so what else is going on? And I'm telling you, I turned the media off. I don't know. I have no idea. So, Trump had a parade, a military parade, and people are making fun of that. I know that much. Yeah. So, yeah, what's there to talk about, right? So that's why I say my morning conversations used to be so the state of times conversation. But, I think people like to hear my voice, hear my thoughts and views and ideas. But that seems just to be kind of like, there's just nothing there. So there's nothing there. And why get all revved up in things you can't control or have any... And it's like arguing with children. And you start talking politics, it's like being a little kid and start wham. That's all it is. That's all it is. But that's the biggest thing that drives media, social media, X, all these big, creators. They ride off all the political crap and they make a ton of money off of it. Yeah. But when I start running my mouth at stuff, with my channel, people are like, So I get it because I spoiled you all seeing me cars and trucks and motorcycles. That's the reality. I mean, the channel was creative to be not a political channel, and the channel was created to share with you all my fun and excitement of cars and motorcycles and trucks and what I thought about them and blah, 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 blah. And then doing that day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, years in, years out. Eventually, I just started coming to closure. It's like, well, this just doesn't really gain any great traction because the first few years of my YouTube channel, I really wasn't talking the state of times. I didn't do the morning conversations. But I just got to the point where I was like, I go out and buy all these cars and trucks and motorcycles and I entertain everybody with that. But then it just doesn't really do much. It just doesn't, the comments aren't really there, just a thumbs up and blah, blah. So then I resorted to going to more of a personal conversation of getting up each day and sharing my thoughts and ideas and views that maybe you related with as well as I did. And that's kind of where the political jargon really started to intertwine in the morning conversations, even though so many people and others were like, you're going to ruin your channel by doing that. Okay. All right. Sure. Great. So here we are. What do you want to talk about? That's what I'm saying. So it's now, we'll rehash the race truck, which we definitely can do that. And we'll rehash the Camaro's E28. I mean, so we'll just do rehash. And then I'll turn into conversations. Will turn into, it's the redo. It's the rerun. Now the Iceman's channel, it's just the reruns. He just now talks about the same thing over and over again. Like my dad. My dad's older in life. And he's handling the whole, my mother's memorial service yesterday, or Saturday. He's definitely handling things the best of his capability. But when my dad calls me, I hear the same conversation over and over again. It's the same story of him meeting my mother, where he asked my mother's friend Doris before she took the dance. I hear the same story about my dad dancing with my mother. And then, and it's not criticism. All I'm saying is that, the Iceman will turn into my dad popcorn, where I just start telling you the same story over and over again. And maybe you'll enjoy to hear it over and over again. Yeah, that memorial service was so crazy. Last night, my sister texted me and said that service was now available to watch. And I tried to download it onto my channel. I had a hell of a time. I spent hours and hours trying to figure out how to get that to code live on my channel. Should say to be able to view it. So I ended up just making a recording just of a little portion of that, the ceremony, Just basically pictures of me and her. My wife's in that video. So here, so far, it'll amaze me. But here's the thing, everybody: the church would have to take down that video. My sister would get called out. Leah, my sister, put pictures of my wife on that video. Yes, I didn't do it. And so here's what's crazy is my wife, I don't think knows this. But now she goes to me and goes, hey, do not post that video on your YouTube channel. I'd be like, honey, that is Ted Hamilton's YouTube posting video. You can't blame me, honey. Sorry. So you see my wife when we were younger, boy, how we all check. Yeah, so you see my wife, you see us. And so my sister busted her ass with my dad and another woman at church to create that ceremony. And that was very emotional, very challenging. And for me to watch it, I watched it over and over again just to see my mother, who she was, which my mother was a beautiful person. And she, that was tough. But I did publish it late last night. But I was thinking to myself, oh, wow, here finally, all the people are like, what does your wife look like? Blah, blah, blah. Who is your wife? There it is, everybody. So if you want to see what my wife looked like, and see, I used to be a young, youthful guy that used to lift weights and exercise and didn't have a big-ass belly on him, and I was all about exercising and staying in shape, and I had hair. The good old days, everybody. That was back in 1996. That picture of me and my wife were 1996. May 25th, just so it's hard to believe. What's that, close to 30 years, 29 years later, and what happens to you, how you evolve, and how we all, for the most part of us, not everybody, but I'd be one to bet most people say, oh yeah, I'm heavier, I'm bigger, blah, blah, blah. And then the drinking, all the years of drinking, and Brett, I feel sorry for Brett, because he keeps on reaching out on my channel about me being a raging alcoholic, drinking vodka, and I'm not going to get into why I think he does that, but I don't. So this is what I learned. I just learned this a few years ago. I was never the vodka drinker. I was the wine drinker. I used to drink wine, and that wine destroyed my esophagus. It destroyed it. It's so acidic. And of course, before that, I drank beer, but I never drank till I pass out. But I always had friends that did do that stuff. And so for me, what I learned about vodka is, if you're the smart drinker, you drink vodka with a juice drink, lemonade, pineapple, strawberry, whatever it may be, whatever your taste desires. But you only need so much of the vodka product to actually feel good. Versus to get the same effect out of beer, you're going to probably pound at least 2 or 3 beers, 4 beers. It just depends what, alcohol content they are. And so for me, what I learned years ago, just a few years ago, not any, I haven't been drinking vodka, I would say now maybe 2 years. I used to drink, rum or whiskey, but that's heavy and it's so sugary. But what I noticed about when I drank like a rum and Coke or whatever it was, whiskey, what I noticed is I had a much more aggressive, very violent type of attitude. And some people are like, oh, he's drinking. I mean, any alcohol, any substance alters your mind, so you definitely become different. But the point is, I noticed that made me much more, and I felt it the next day. I felt tired. I felt lethargic. Beer, same thing, even wine. But the vodka, what I've noticed about that is, and I like it, is it doesn't take a lot of product, and you don't have to drink a lot of it to feel just good. And then that's it. Now, sure, you can keep on drinking until you pass out. That isn't what I do. I'm no fool to knowing, man. My dad's father died because he drank all the damn time. I mean, on my father's side of the family up here in Illinois, everybody up there died early because they drank themselves to oblivion all the time. And they drank through the day. And that's the thing. For everybody on my channel, if you're grabbing the joint, the weed, the dope, whatever you're doing to alter your mind, to escape the sorrows in your life, if you're doing that in the morning, or you're already hitting the bottle in the morning, midday, you got problems. And I've always told my daughter, if you can't get up next day to go to work, then you got a problem. When you drink so much where you can barely get out of bed the next day to go work and be a good worker, you're an alcoholic. That's the reality. So I think everybody has their stronger days of drinking and their weaker days of drinking. But the whole point is, for Brett, I appreciate your concern of that, because he's witnessed it. I think it's a very personal thing. And I know I've met many people that don't drink at all because they had the father or mother that was like that. And they wanted nothing to do with that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality. And that's a big problem in today's society. People start doing drugs. I mean, I've had a person work for me not knowing that they had that problem. Yes. Yes. Serious problem. I didn't know I had a person working for 12 years that was a pothead. I didn't know it till he left me. And now, looking back over all the years that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality, now it's like, holy crap, this guy was hitting a blunt probably in the morning, probably midday. I don't know. It was like, whoa, who is this guy today? It was a new personality. For me, every day it's like, who's showing up today? I didn't know. I'm not the expert. So that's it. Leave it at that. Got to go to work. It's a 30-minute video. And I appreciate everybody reaching out yesterday on the Happy Father's Day. That was the most comments I've ever seen, I think, on any day of my channel of, Happy Father's Day. And for those out there, those comments get lost. I know some people get a little upset that aren't responding to some of these things. But, man, when you start having that many comments, it's very challenging to stay on top of all those comments. You have to constantly be looking at your phone, checking comments. And it's just the way the YouTube has these comments come in. It's two different apps. It takes me two different apps, my YouTube app and then my YouTube Studio app, to see all these comments. Some of the comments do not come in on my regular YouTube app. I have to go to my YouTube Studio app to see comments. It is very weird. It's been a major complaint on my channel for years that people think that I intentionally ignore them or I block their comments. I don't. I do not. I do not. I don't do that. I mean, there are people who have been on my channel that have been and start to be hard to manage and deal with, but you see that. You all, if you really watch my channel, you'll see that all of a sudden one of my subscribers starts becoming much more confrontational and, in my opinion, violent, and eventually becomes, okay, you're gone, you're out. I'm not up for this social media arguing and fighting. There's nothing here, man. It's just a social media public YouTube channel that anybody can watch, and to start going back and forth with you and I about how you don't like the way I live my life, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I'm out, man. You're not my boss. You don't pay me. This goes nowhere. It just gives you your good feeling of the day to go harass somebody. That's all I can figure out why it starts going that direction. It's like, wow. So that's it. I'm done. And once again, I'll say it one more time. Thank you so much for everybody yesterday reaching out, wishing me a happy Father's Day, and hearts and prayers to my family. That was the biggest day, I think, yet to date of the comments and all the people reaching out and being very nice to me. And a happy Father's Day, belated Father's Day back to everybody else out there. So God bless. Have a great day.